Hello. Just wanted to say thank you. I've reached over 1,000 now, and it's growing really fast. Just like to thank everybody that subscribed to my channel, and I've started setting up a Patreon and do some type of membership so I can start getting some STL files and basically show you how I make these things and have you make yours also. Well, and I'm hoping to start doing a little animatronic so we can do one together, and we'll have something for y'all to test and understand how this goes and how it works, and probably do some servo reviews. Also do some, mainly I like getting micro servos because the goal is to get a skin on this animatronic, and the animatronic needs to be small because a lot of people don't have an extremely large resin printer, and we're going to need a resin printer to make the skin because it has highly detail, so we can do the skin. And as far as the core can be done with the FDM printer. But and once again, there's when you make a silicone mold, and then if you mold anything that is a resin print, there is some problems with the silicone reacting to the resin print, and there's certain things that you have to do to prep this so-called resin print so we can get this molded. But we got to keep it small once again because the build platforms of resin printers only go up so high, and not everybody can afford some big industrial resin printer. Well, what you've been seeing is a lot of my older work, a bunch of Grogu's and things like that. But eventually I want to get y'all introduced to software so y'all can program these things. But you will need a radio, an RC radio. And once again, I'm going to be posting that mainly on probably the Patreon and here. And you can go to the community section of this YouTube channel and see that. This is Brooker's BSA software that I use to control the animatronic. It's quite easy to set up. Just control your servo controller, and you set up your servos, and the longer you move the graph, the slower it goes, and the shorter it is, the faster the servo will move. And it's quite easy to do. I've been using BSA software since 2004. And it's really easy. I mean, this whole little routine with just 4 servos just took me like 20 minutes to make. You can also add sound to it. I've done a lot of testing on these animatronics, design and tinkering with certain types of movements just to make my obsession of animatronic, or 3D printed animatronics, digital, changing the whole reverse engineering of the old school method to where you design the animatronic first and make a so-called life cast, and instead of a life cast of an actor or actress, you make a life cast of the animatronic, and then you can put the skin on. And this is me is having an obsession with animatronics, and been doing this for several years, and it's a passion, and I just want to see creatures move. Working on this animatronic, trying to get the lips to move, and using these wires and housing, trying to get them to move just a few millimeters to give it some kind of realistic movement. And you can see where I can have even the jaw have just a little bit of give to it to give it kind of protrusive jaw movement, and you know, every little tick, you know, gives a little bit of different kind of expression. But it's getting there. It's just always testing. I am, but you know, you have a lot of RC stuff, hobby, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You have boats, planes, cars, you name it. How about creatures? Basically, when I design an animatronic, you know, after doing the research of servos, and like this is a wing servo, and it's small and flat, and it will save space. So I'll draw it out from the schematic of the servo, and mostly thousands of servos have a schematic, what they go to on their size and dimensions. So I draw it out so I can place it in my designs, you know, and just manipulate it, see if I can do this or that. But basically, this is what I do 90% of the time. In designing these animatronics, you find little things that you can do, like, and I'm using SketchUp 2017, and it's free. I mean, I know people use other softwares like, what is that, Fusion 360, but I just never could get into it. But, you know, I use Blender and things. But this right here, if you keep all your servos the same servo, and if they're small, you can enlarge it to the next size servo, and that way you can enlarge the animatronic. And there will still be some little things to manipulate, like the screw points, and some screws, sometimes the screw points are 4 instead of 2, but it's pretty neat that you can make one bigger. I've been working on this for over a year. This is a 26 servo animatronic, and I worked on it some today, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've been working on. You've probably seen most of these videos, but there's a lot of servos. There's a lot of work too, because you got to keep taking it apart and putting it together. You just got to keep testing. This is a large animatronic head I'm designing. It's going to have 26 servos in it. I'm doing some testing on the eye mech and the jaw. This jaw is probably strong enough to bite an apple, but it's going to have protrusive jaw movement, and these linear rails here are just going to make it slide back and forth, give it more expression. It's going to have some lip movements, so 3 on the upper lip, and 1 on the bottom, and tongue, but I'm getting there and putting the skull on, just kind of doing some design work to see where I need to make adjustments. But just some testing the eyes and the jaw. But it's getting there. It's a big boy. This here is I'm putting together these are lip control, or the lip paddles. You know, I usually use cables, you know, to pull the cables and stuff, but I went with these, being silicone, I can just have a socket to put uh, the lip into the silicone when that's developed. But and this has protrusive jaw movement also, and I'm putting in the rods into the linear bearings, and it's coming along. It's just you know, it's a big boy, but it's coming along. This is the smile movement, where it smile or frowns, or you know, it gives, you know, corners of the lip movement to where, you know, it has a big, very large mouth. Uh, it could eating an entire apple, a big one. And this is the three upper lips. And the lower lips is one solid because you don't move the center lip. The center lip, you don't control that unless you pucker or whistle. The aluminum beams, which is that they're threaded on each end, but the other ones are just straight through every 8 millimeters. But it's a good way. They're lightweight, because just trying to design this thing, I keep taking it apart, putting it together. I want it to be durable, and this would be the best way because plastic will break. I tested the brow movement today, and this is to have more expression as far as mad or sad, and also they move up and down. And but this is uh, this is two Y cables and two reversers on these 4 servos. And this was tested today as today the 7th of 2023 of December. I have a few things I have to redesign. Mainly I gotta redo the chin so it'll have a cover, and also the nose plate that hides all these so-called lip paddles.